American senators are accused of insider trading amidst the coronavirus panic. I'm Marco Perry. Welcome to the Perry Platform. What if you were privy to insider information that could save your stock market investments? What if you could make millions of dollars by cheating the system? Well, some American senators faced that ethical dilemma recently, and they failed. As public servants, they did not uphold their duty. Forbes reports that, in a shocking revelation, a number of American senators sold their stock holdings after being briefed about the coronavirus. They were informed at the governmental level about the effects the virus would have on the economy, jobs, and the stock market. Then, these senators proceeded to lie to the public. They told everyone that the information is just simply fear-mongering and nothing's going to go wrong. Everything's going to be fine, while they knew otherwise. The legitimate information came in through one ear, and out of their mouth came nonsense. They said people shouldn't worry about anything. In reality, they wanted to calm the markets. They wanted to make sure they didn't lose money before they could pull their investments out. See, they had a choice here. They had multiple choices, actually. The first thing they could have done is take the information and not say anything. The second thing is take the information and lie to people. The third thing is take the info and tell the truth. If they really were worried about their constituents, they would have told everyone that yes, this is a serious problem, we are dealing with it, but the repercussions are going to be drastic. You may be adversely affected. That would consequently tank the markets as people start to worry about where they're going to be getting money from. They will pull their investments and liquidate them. That will cause the market to drop, and the senators would lose money presumably. So, what they decided to do was dastardly. They told everyone, don't worry about it. It's whatever. This is nothing serious. And there was actually propaganda going on at this time that the virus was fake news. It was simply a conjuring of the media trying to smear whoever is in control. And that was all proven to be false. But it was proven to be false after these guys made out hand over fist with profit. Now, the textbook definition of insider trading, that's what these senators are being accused of, is trading on the stock exchange to one's own advantage through having access to confidential information. In other words, info that's not commonly available. The regular Joe wouldn't have these government briefings. There is no doubt that that is what happened here, and it is illegal. A regular person would be locked up. Are we willing to place these senators above the law? That's the question we have to ask right now. I think the answer is obviously no. They have to face consequences for what they've done here, but we will see how the American government handles it. Now, here is some context. You might be surprised to find that only in 2012 was it deemed illegal for politicians to commit insider trading. Before that, it was perfectly fine. It was still an ethical gray area, but it wasn't textbook illegal. Your constituents might call you out for doing it, but you wouldn't be held accountable in the court of law. Crazy, right? Only 8 years ago were politicians able to run around with that freedom. You can only imagine just how many of them took advantage of that. As a politician, you are privy to so many things too. Maybe even aside from the governmental briefings, you presumably also have close relations with A, your campaign donors who are, for the most part, corporations, and B, the companies that exist within your riding. Who knows what kind of info they're giving you and what kind of bribes are going on behind the scenes because of that. It's a dark path to take, and I'm surprised this wasn't illegal from the get-go. Now, as mentioned, an act called the Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge was passed in 2012. Before then, it was all fine. It was like the Wild West. Take all the privy information that you receive and go make a killing on the stock market. I am sure a lot of politicians got into politics for this very reason here. You must understand that the stock markets are smart to whatever degree they are, but they're also emotional. I would actually say they run mostly on emotion. Fear and greed power them. The biggest swings come as a result of those two things. If you know, for example, as a politician, that the president is going to do something to incite worry or panic in the coming days, or that a virus will destroy the economy before anyone else does, you are golden. I'd be surprised if you didn't become a millionaire. You have effectively a cheat code that's going to print you profits. You know exactly when the ups and the downs will occur. The market reacts to information like that, but they don't have it before you do. You have a head start. As a politician, that's not a perk we want to be giving them. The reason why insider trading is illegal is because there are very powerful people who can just change the tides of the market at a whim. We don't want them to abuse the system and profit off of the backs of everyone else. The people at the bottom, the average investor, has no such power. You are simply a market taker. Anything that happens, you are susceptible to that. You have no influence on what goes down, but there are people who can fundamentally change the ways in which the market are working. They can change the prices through their own actions. If we allowed them to profit off that, the market would simply be rigged to the highest degree possible. It wouldn't be a legitimate, honorable, or fair institution. Now you might say, well, maybe it really isn't even that with these protocols, but in the absence of them, it becomes far worse. Insider trading is very serious, and as someone who's elected to represent the people, you should not be touching that with a 10-foot pole. Quite the opposite, actually. As a politician, you should be fighting for your constituents, making sure that the game is as fair as possible, not taking part in the corruption that's going to benefit your own self-interest. Now, at that time, in 2012, when the bill was passing, some senators were against it. They openly fought against that bill. To me, that's just ridiculous. There's no rational argument to make to allow insider trading among congressmen. There really is nothing you can say to that aside from, oh, I want to make $1 million fast. That's the only reason why a politician would fight against that. They disregard their duty as government officials and are more inclined to make a fast buck. I find that despicable. Can you make it more obvious that you are an insider trader yourself if you fight a bill that says government officials should not insider trade? What does that mean? To oppose a bill meant to cut out a corrupt practice? You are therefore implicit in the corrupt practice by fighting against a resolution to it. Your job as a senator is to represent your constituents, your people, and advocate for their interests, not your own selfish desires. There is no honor in doing that. And the reason why I'm harping about this particular point is because one senator who is accused of insider trading today was a senator who was against the passing of that bill in 2012. Shocking, right? He wanted the right to insider trade back in the day, and now he's caught insider trading. He didn't plan on abiding by any laws even if they passed. What kind of politician is that? Obviously not one that we'd want in office, and that person's name is Senator Richard Burr. He is a member of the Republican Party and an active senator of North Carolina. Now, I do say he is a Republican, but it's largely irrelevant where you fall on the political spectrum when you analyze this. This here is the epitome of disgrace, and he should be condemned on all sides. Nobody should be trying to defend that. I have no respect for an official who acts entirely out of self-interest as he has displayed here. This man was not only a senator, but he was the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. When we learn that a man of such power is so obviously motivated by money, that's a major red flag. I don't believe there's any room for people like that in politics. He is no champion of the community. He sold stocks held by him and his wife. The estimated value that he took home was between $600,000 and $1.72 million. We don't know the exact figure, but that is the range, and I believe it's on the higher end too. Some of those shares that he sold were areas that were hit hard by the coronavirus outbreak. If he waited and didn't act on his insider knowledge, he would have lost a lot of money. And there you go. He's a millionaire now if he wasn't already one before. Here's some additional context to put into perspective how large these stock declines were. If he took the hit, like every other person did, he would have probably lost somewhere in the ballpark of 35% of his assets value. His stocks would be then worth $420,000 to $1.1 million. Those are losses to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we aren't too sure that we've even hit the bottom yet. He could have lost even more than that depending on how time works out. So, instead of displaying solidarity with the people he represents, he cashed out and ran away like a rat on a sinking ship. Richard Burr. I believe he is unfit for office. The moral failings here are just too evident. Corrupt people enable a corrupt system. Now, let's move on to Senator number 2, Kelly Lafleur, another Republican senator. She is equally as contemptible and is an appalling opportunist. She cashed out prior to the outbreak at a value of $1.2 to $3.1 million, even more than Burr. She also reportedly purchased stocks after she sold that were believed to be benefiting from the pandemic. One company that she invested in offers teleconferencing so people can work from home. I assume that company would be Zoom. They have done quite well relative to the market. Now, Kelly, don't give us some BS like you had a premonition of sorts, like you're a fortune teller and you had a vision. You didn't just wake up before the outbreak really hit and time the market perfectly to sell all your assets at their peak value and buy Zoom shares without leveraging privy information. It is blatantly obvious. If anyone believes that she acted out of her own intuition and insider trading wasn't a part of it, I have some magic beans to sell you. Kelly, if you didn't know, is also married to the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, so she may have gotten information from a variety of sorts. A very powerful woman, a woman steeped in corruption and deep with moral failings. Now, on to Senator number 3. This time it's a Democrat. Corruption isn't bound to a single party if you were under that illusion. I should take a second here to point this out. People are so entrenched in their identity politics that they really ride out for their associated party. If you are a Republican, you're going to fight on their behalf. If you're a Democrat, you're going to fight on their behalf. But you can't let these tribal tendencies take away from the reality here. If you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, who cares? It's obviously a bad thing that happened here. And at the same time, if a Republican or a Democrat comes up with a good idea and they are being logical, that should be honored. Your own party affiliation should not take away from that. Tribalism, intersectionality, identity politics, these are all things that just hold us back. But luckily, from what I've seen, people from all across the spectrum are coming together and condemning these practices here. Tucker Carlson, a popular Republican speaker, was calling for these people to step down. And Rashida Tlaib, a popular Democrat, said that she agreed. There wasn't any conflict there. Nobody was trying to spin it to save their party. They saw a morally corrupt practice and they called it out together. They're looking for a solution because despite their differences, they recognize there's a problem here that has to be solved. That's how things should be. We rarely see that these days, and this was kind of refreshing, despite it being a terrible situation to come together for. So as I said, Senator number 3, a Democrat. Her name, Dianna Feinstein, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, cashed out an estimated value of $1.5 to $6 million, even more than the other two. These people clearly have no shame. And at the same time, I am not making the case that if you are in the government, you cannot invest in stocks. I'm just saying you should follow the laws. You shouldn't be using insider trading to take advantage of the market. You should be going down with the ship and up with the tide as your constituents do. It's the honorable thing to do. You are a congressperson, you are a senator, you are an elected official. You shouldn't be pulling one over the system to get a leg up on your people. That's not a good look, and it's not what your job is about. You're not there to make money. You're there to better the country. They seem to be losing sight of that. Then we have a fourth senator who's been accused too, Jim Inhofe. He cashed out $400,000, and that seems small compared to everyone else, but it is still $400,000. This is not appropriate. It's a bad look all around. Some senators are going to say that, oh, we didn't make this choice. We have people who manage our money. They sold on our behalf. And that's actually the going defense right now for a lot of them. Are they people, though, with insider knowledge too? Did you, as a senator with government privy intel, tell the people who manage your money what they should do? Did you leak the information to steer them in the right direction? Maybe they did sell it for you, but why did they feel the need to do that? And why did they buy Zoom right after? Is it because you told them the truth about the pandemic before everyone else knew? It seems very likely to me. It seems like you served your own self-interest above those of the people. At the very least, as a senator, you must understand the implications of your actions here. These people aren't stupid. They're not oblivious. They're some of the most elite in our society. There is no need to baby these people. Okay, maybe you did have someone who was managing your money, but where is the foresight to allow them to sell your investments, and basically all of them, and to make millions of dollars prior to the tipping point, to lie to the populace? And that's actually the worst part, to spread misinformation so you can profit off of that, pretending everything is okay, just so you can sell your shares at a premium, and then you buy shares at companies who are poised to do well in an epidemic situation. Do not be misled by these politicians. This is no such sort of coincidence. Things didn't just align in a way where they didn't use government intel to benefit themselves. They obviously did that. 4 senators right here, and how many more that we don't even know about. And at the same time, it bothers me Because while they were downplaying this pandemic to line their pockets, how many people suffered? How many more people got sick because we didn't prepare in time? If from the start they were really sounding the alarm, even though the markets would tank faster, we may have been able to better position ourselves to react. Now, I'm saying we, even though I'm not American, I'm from Canada, but America really set the tone for this. America and Canada are closely related. If America was going hard from the start, if they were in emergency mode from day one, we would take that signal and adapt it ourselves. We wouldn't be taking a slow approach in contrast to that. They misled not only themselves, but other countries as well. And now, who knows what sorts of chain reaction effects that decision is going to have. And at the same time, how can you, as a senator, expect people to truly believe you have their best interests at heart when you allow their investments to crumble and you profit like a bandit? People, regular people, who had investments as well, are losing money hand over fist. They can't retire. People lost their jobs. People have no source of income. People can't eat. They can't work. And you're here taking millions of dollars a month before things really got serious? How terrible is that from people who are supposed to represent you? People who are supposed to be fighting on your behalf. It's a contradictory to their role. And it leads me to this next point. What do I think has to happen? I am not one for canceling people, but this is very different. When you demonstrate that you are truly unfit for your position, not just because you tweeted about something 8 years ago, you said something controversial, but no, you took an action, a deliberate choice that undermines what your office stands for in the here and now. That's a different situation. These people are meant to represent their constituents, but they did not do that. They misled you so they can make a ton of money. These characteristics are not suited for government roles. This is not like me saying let's dig into their past and find something to hold against them. I'm saying look at the facts of the here and now. Look what they just did. And ask yourself, is that something you want in a senator? I believe there should be a full-on investigation right now to confirm the facts of the matter. Although I find it unlikely that it was a coincidence, it's still possible. I'm open to that. Maybe we're all mistaken, but I doubt it. Sincerely, I doubt it. It's 98% positive that there was some insider trading going on here. Just based on the simple fact in that it was more than one senator. And for multiple people to be able to time the market perfectly like that, it's just not realistic. For them to be in a position of government where they know top-class intel before anyone else does, the cards all align and they point towards a particular outcome. But I will say, they're innocent until proven guilty. Let's do the investigation, an impartial one, and let's find out the facts of the matter. Then, let's say they are guilty. I do believe they must step down. First of all, it's illegal. You can't just be able to buy your way out of this. They pay a fine. No, what you've done here is heinous, and it spells out just how unfit you are to be in office. You have to step down. If you don't want to step down, well, I think there are grounds to have you impeached. And at the same time, I believe in true justice. So you made these millions of dollars off of selling your stock. I think they have to be fined equivalent to whatever the gain is. If you want to add a tinge of irony, you should make it so that they lose a portion of their investment equivalent to whatever the greatest market drop is. Make it as if they sold at the bottom. Just so they get hit with, first of all, losing their position, and second, get a taste of how it feels to be one of their constituents who got blindsided by all of this. Maybe that's cruel, but I'm not saying they should do it. But it's just one possibility. I do think they should lose their position for sure, though. Stepping down because of just how dishonorable these practices are. They don't care about you. They care about lining their pocket. When you have a corrupt person in government, then you wonder why the system is corrupt? I don't know what to say to you. It's because the people in it are contributing to the madness. Getting rid of people like that is the first step to correcting the system, regardless of their party affiliation. I don't care if you're a conservative, liberal, Republican, or Democrat. Use your logic here, not identity politics. And now finally, it brings me to this last point here about opportunism. People who are seeking to profit off of disaster to the detriment of their peers. So these guys here are insider trading, making millions of dollars off of the virus, and they're investing in companies like Zoom, which they know are going to do well. The rich get richer, and at the same time, at the community level, you have people who are hoarding sanitizer, hoarding masks and toilet paper, whatever the best commodity is, and they're reselling it at a profit. They're making sure the local stores sell out, and they're out there on Kijiji, who's recently banned this actually, but they're just looking to make a quick buck. They don't care what kind of effects this type of opportunism has on the community. They don't care that people can't afford these things now because the premiums are just so high. They don't care if you are a senior who has no access to it anymore. All they care about is making money. In America, this happened quite recently too. There was a hurricane, I believe, in the South, and some people went in there to the local stores and they bought out all the bottled water. And this is actually even worse because the supply chains are disrupted. In Canada and America right now, stores are still getting restocked, but in a hurricane situation where people can't come to you anymore, you really constrict supply there. And if you buy it all out, you become a monopoly. You can sell that water for however much you want to. But now the problem is people can't afford it. People who need water don't have access to it. Your own greed is destroying your society. These type of things are just despicable, no matter if you're a senator or a regular civilian. All I ask is that right now, you act logically and have a heart in this situation. People are struggling, and your first thought shouldn't be how to capitalize off of that. And with that now brings me to the end of our conversation for today. If you enjoy the content, be sure to leave a review and share. That'll help us grow. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at PerryPlatform. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.